I know. I'm just letting you guys know. We're gonna talk about some basics, and then after we finish talking about basically.
I'm recording.
Are you actually?
Yeah, right now.
Okay, so can I go?
Yeah.
All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and get into this. I'll just start with the callouts in case you guys don't know them. This is obviously spawn, and then this is main. This exit right here, that's right, and that's left. Easy enough. If you're calling out where we're rolling out. This is main once again, right and left. Up here is point, and basically these stairs are kind of considered point also as a call, and the only reason for that is because if someone's on point, and you're like over here, you'll probably look in that direction, and the stairs are right there. So if someone's also on stairs, you kind of just call point, and same effect happens. This is obelisk because it's an obelisk. Some people call it pillar as well. So if someone refers to it as that, don't confuse. And then there's the tree next to the obelisk, but you don't need to get that specific. Just say obelisk. Point, obelisk. Here's pack, like full ammo pack, and then in here is bathhouse. Some people call it pool. Typically, I've called it bathhouse in the past. And then, of course, this is the reason why it's bathhouse or pool. There's a full health pack here, obviously. If you're staying on this side or on the other side for the other team, this area is called ruins because they're ruins. Big surprise. And all this wooden area and this area right here is bats. That gets confusing because if you're calling out a sniper, they can be left bats or right bats, so just call left bats or right bats and you'll be fine. That's essentially all the calls that matter, because not only is it symmetrical, but most of the time shit doesn't really happen anywhere else on this map. Sometimes people will be on ramp, like a spy will be on ramp or something, so this is ramp. This side of the obelisks, I just like calling stairs because I don't really like the whole left point, right point thing, but if you do say left point or right point, that's okay too. Some people are just used to that, which is okay. I call this stairs personally. But yeah, those are all the calls, so simple enough. Hopefully no one will get lost, and everyone will listen. That's that. Now let's talk about just the objectives of Koth, because, I mean, I don't know, it's something about these past few weeks that we've just not been paying a lot of attention to the objectives in games. So, when you're playing Koth, there's obviously one objective, and that objective is the point. If you don't have the point, no matter how many kills you get, you will lose. So, you need to capture the point at some point. On this Koth map and on many other Koth maps, the point is the highest thing on the map, pretty much. I mean, soldiers can jump on top of the obelisk, and, I guess this slight elevation in bathhouse is a higher point, but pretty much the point is the highest point, and therefore the highest ground. And so, usually on a Koth map, you would want to watch on point. Now, on Lakeside, that's very seldom a good idea, and the reason for that is because their team, if they roll left, for example, and you're on point, you won't see their team rolling left because the obelisk and this panel here actually blocks you being able to see them in time. And from here, before they even round the corner onto point, they can have a soldier jump, they can have demo jump, they can have the heavy just walk up, rev up, and then be right in front of whoever's on point. So you'll very rarely hold on point on Lakeside. Mostly because it's just easy to get spammed out. So when we're actually holding the point, when we have it captured, most of our control has to come from house. The reason why we have to control, pool or bathhouse or whatever you want to call it, is because not only do you get cover from the sniper, who is always immensely powerful on any Koth map, but you also basically have the highest ground right next to the point. So if someone walks onto point, your demo can just spam it, or your heavy can like walk a little closer to it and get them off. Your pyro can deny spam into house from either side. You can decide to flank onto their ruins or bats from here and then get down on them. I mean, having control of bathhouse is a very good idea in this on this map. Occasionally, however, that won't always be where you want to focus, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But for the most part, bathhouse is the place you want to have control of. This map has essentially 3 main areas you need to make sure people don't take. That's the point. So anything in this area, the bathhouse, and an area that a lot of teams neglect that I insist that you shouldn't is the right side of point. So how do you deal with all 3 sides at a time? Typically, when you're going into a mid-fight, what ends up happening is your demo tries to get to this middle area as quickly as possible. Once he's here, he can spam over point or onto point if they take that ground. If he's fast enough, he can probably get onto point and then spam down onto them coming out of main. So the demo man essentially is going to be the big powerhouse at mid. However, he can't really do that alone. Now, because our scout and our soldier are going to essentially want to get into bath as soon as possible and take a flank route, either onto their bats, or if their flank is very weak and they're able to kill the flank, maybe even rotate onto their combo coming in through main. That's completely possible, and I've seen teams done it. The scout and the soldier will be doing that, rolling through bats for the most part. And so the demo has very little bullet coverage, and I'll tell you why, and the heavy is helping him in a bit. So what ends up happening is the NG has to roll out main with the demo and the medic. He needs to set up a mini immediately, as soon as he can. As soon as the engineer gets out into the open, he should set a mini up somewhere out here. Just have it build passively, and then get up with your shotgun, not all the way up onto point because you'll immediately get a headshot, but close enough to where if the demo needs to back off, you should be there to like do some damage with your shotgun to anyone who's chasing him. So the engineer in the very mid-fight, the very first mid-fight, is kind of going to act like a defense for the demo to not get killed if he needs to back off. If the demo gets a little cocky and he gets too lit, then he should be able to get behind the NG. NG, if you die but demo survives, that is a worthwhile sacrifice. So just keep that in mind. This is just for mid-fight, by the way. Now, what the heavy is going to do right off the bat, he's going to get out here and immediately start looking to the skies. Because right at the beginning, their soldier will usually either try to jump, or their demo will try to jump, or something will try and get at your medic. So look at the skies, or if you think they whip their spy out, well, I mean, the spy probably shouldn't be out here right at the beginning. So look for jumpers first, and then you can start spy checking, and then take a position near obelisks around this, it would be our right side when we're rolling out. The reason you take a position near obelisks around this side is because you can drop down onto dispenser below, which we'll be building. You can decide to rotate around and help the demo if he needs it, or you can go ahead and rotate this corner if someone gets too cocky. Sometimes their engineer will try to get this pack, and you can literally just pick him off if he does that. So a heavy's position is really mostly going to be on this side of the stairs. So that covers flank, demo, heavy, NG. The sniper, okay. So the sniper is another person to watch. Now the reason why people don't just want to immediately walk onto point in mid, at least not through main or through stairs, is because of their sniper. So their sniper is pretty much, on average, either going to roll out up through bats to get a position on bats immediately, because if he's on bats, he can immediately see across the point and onto their ruins or their bats way over there. Or he's going to go ahead and roll out to his left and go up through ruins and then he has a sight line all the way back to our ruins, and he can start sniping out their flank. And if he needs to, if the team gets cocky on the point, he can just shift his sight line over there onto point. So the sniper is pretty much going to be rolling out through those two places, because if the sniper rolls out main, not only does he not have the high ground in order to have a very good sight line, but in order to get a sight line right on the mid fight, he'd have to climb this point, which isn't completely unviable. But the problem with that is everyone's fighting, so their team probably going to try and push up on the point, and he's going to get caught out and die. So for the most part, the sniper's either going to roll ruins or bats. For our sniper, I kind of recommend rolling ruins, just because you get a good view of the point from here, and you can kind of just deny their flank before they even start walking into bath. If their flank doesn't even walk into bath, which some flanks will literally just try and get over point immediately, not only will Surtur be over there to deny them from walking around that side, but the sniper will be able to actually see over there if he hears that we have an issue with the flank being over there. But watching through here, you can get a few picks immediately. The sniper on this map actually shouldn't be concentrating so much on meta picks, because unless their medic is literally an idiot and is walking on point, just because, like I just said, a medic would be an idiot to just walk onto point when the sniper's up, because that's a free pick. If their medic is just walking on point all the time, then go ahead and just keep shutting it down and like find him that he's a medic. But usually a medic has a bit more sense about him, and he can just kind of hang out behind basilisks near the dispenser, near the heavy. He can check for spies around him, and if he needs to back out, he can back out pretty easily if he's back here. So a medic really has no reason to push on the point very often. Even if they're in bathhouse, the medic, I mean, he has cover pretty much the full time. So as a sniper, concentrate your efforts less on the medic, concentrate your efforts more on, for the mid fight, concentrate your efforts more on the other sniper. The reason I say for the mid fight is because this map is fucking phenomenal for spies. So what the spy is going to do is get into position while we're mid fighting. And, jeez, I blanked, sorry. The spy's gonna get into position while we're mid-fighting. After the mid-fight is over, the spy should basically just be able to handle their sniper, like, on his own. Because this map is actually very good for spies. There's a lot of elevation changes near bats. There are ramps. There are different places to decloak that are very varied, I guess I should say. And because of the, like, tricky terrain, the different turns all over the map, it's very easy for a spy to get in and out of wherever he needs to be. So he should have no problem with the sniper now that the Razorback is banned. So basically, mid-fight, you worry about the sniper. Past mid-fight, let the spy take care of the sniper, and basically your job, Pliskin, or if it's Tepiu sniping, doesn't matter. Your job is just to get as many kills as possible. Like, just kill as many of their members. Anyone who even peeks onto the point, basically just, like, kill. If their scouts are trying to cap, if their heavy peeks his head to shoot, if their demo tries to jump over, if their soldier's jumping, if their pyro's, like, just doing a number, like, just kill whoever's valuable. Like, that's your job on this map. Because now that Razorback is banned, on this map, there's really no reason for the spy to have a hard time taking out the sniper, unless the sniper literally just runs with their combo. On the flip side of that coin, though, if you are having trouble with their spy, then by all means, feel free to roll with our combo and kind of play near these stairs so that our pyro can spy check for you, and then you can just peek, get a kill, and then duck back in. But that's only if their spy is doing particularly well against you. I think a lot of spies still haven't realized or gone into the mode of, oh, Razorback is banned, and so oftentimes they'll just forget that the sniper's free picks for them. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that's essentially what we'll do in mid-fight, and that's essentially what our pick classes are going to be doing during the game. Um, when it comes to when we actually play the match, I already told you guys, when we're holding the point, typically what our combo is going to want to do is be in or like near battles, right? Because not only do you have high ground, but you have a variety of options to deal with. Now, if their team is just being complete weaklings, you can go ahead and aggress a little bit more. Just make sure not to die. That's the only exception to that. Now, when we're holding these points, most of the time, if our combos in bathhouse, our flank should actually be aggressed a little bit ahead on their baths or in their ruins, because flank has the mobility to be able to get out of sticky situations. So flank, go ahead and get picks. Go ahead. That's an interesting phrasing. But essentially, once we have the point and a secured hold, your job isn't really flank anymore, it's pick. Because if we keep picking them off, they can't push back onto us. That's the rule about this map. In order to push back onto the point, like the point on this map is so exposed that if the whole team isn't up, you can't push back onto it. No matter what. You can't. So once we have the hold and once we have the point, no matter how often they try and push onto it, we can keep spamming them out as long as we just keep getting picks. So flank, you guys turn into extra pick classes as long as we have a hold in bathhouse, essentially. Now, what does that mean? That means our combo is going to be in bath. Our flank is going to be out getting picks. So who watches this our left side? Well, that's just the responsibility of the team to keep an eye on. If anyone has information about that, be that the spy, the combo, or the flank, really just call it out. Say, hey, they're rolling out of, right for us, right? So we'll be like, hey, they're rolling right. Then our attention will be directed that way. Maybe our demo will jump across to that side. Maybe our sniper will have his sights in that area. And it shouldn't be a problem past that. Okay, so that's on hold. What about when we don't have the point and we want to push onto it? That's probably the hardest part about this map. Like I said, if your whole team isn't up, you're going to have a really, really hard time pushing onto point. This is one of few maps where essentially if you don't have point, you don't push it exactly the same as you would during mid-fight. The reason is, if they have point, they automatically will have higher ground than you. So unlike on mid-fight, where you're trying to get to mid as quickly as possible and take higher ground, they already have all higher ground. Their flank is probably in bathhouse. Their combo's probably either behind the point or on the point, because pretty much every team does that. Or they're running the alternative strategy, and they have their combo in bathhouse, and their flank is on the point or on baths. So you are not going to have the high ground if you don't have point. Because of this, it's important that you stay alive if you don't have the point. So make sure you're buffed. Make sure if you're even close to 100 health, you should be getting healed or health of some sort. Just make sure you're not easy to kill, essentially. Back out appropriately and stay with your groups. So our flank has to stay together. Our combo has to stay together. Pick classes, of course, are always doing their own thing, but don't get picked off in risking a pick, if that makes any sense, because we are going to need everyone to push back in. In most cases, we'll have enough time to build an Uber and then use with the combo. When the combo is using, what typically happens is the combo will go out main and use on the point to back their combo off. While this is happening, we need our flank to make sure to wait about 1 second to pass so that everyone's distracted by the shiny people and then move in and flank. So if you're busy with something flank, you have to pretty much finish it up pretty quickly because you don't have a lot of time to respond to an Uber, usually. Our pick classes need to be in position to get anyone who's backing out. So the spy needs to be pretty much back here somewhere, ready for them to back out through main or to rotate if they back out through right side. And our sniper needs to be watching any of the popular exit points. This is another reason why I like running the sniper over by rooms, is because usually whoever's over there on the combo will just back straight out, okay? So let me just illustrate this real quick. If their combo's backing straight off point, then look at what they're doing. They're immediately taking lower ground, right? So if they're immediately taking lower ground, that means if you're Ubering into them, you'll immediately have the high ground, which means spam city. You can start spamming them as long as they don't pop back into you. And if they do pop into you, just kill whoever's not shiny, essentially. But you have high ground at that point, because if you're the first Uber in, they have to naturally back off. So, I don't typically like to run the sniper on bats, because their combo's pretty much fucked anyway. They're backing off of higher ground, they were caught a little bit by surprise if you're Ubering in, there's a lot of good stuff happening for you. So, what a sniper can do instead is watch bats, because sometimes, very rarely, a medic or a demo or flank members will try and back out through bats. That's when snipers been watching that, and there's no real way out. If you're crossing bats, it's not like you can, easily change your mind. There's a bunch of props around here to get past, and then you're right back on point where everyone's Ubered. So if you're backing out of bats, pretty much the sniper is going to kill you if he's standing right there. This is a lot longer of a way than you would think. That's like at least a full second of time that you need to be in the sniper's sight lines. And that's at least because if you're backing out and you notice the sniper there, then you'll have to turn the corner still to get immediately out of sight lines. But if you don't notice him, you just keep walking out this way and you stay in his sight lines for a good long time. So if we're about to use, the sniper standing there is really, really good spot. That's pretty much it. Those are fundamentals of this map. Now, here's a few things to keep in mind while we're playing this though. If nobody is standing on the point, and if they're not hard spamming it, just stand on it. Just take some time on it. Unless you're like a heavy, and their sniper is up, because if you're a heavy and their sniper's up, you're gonna get a headshot. Unless you're like that person on the team. For example, if you're a scout and no one's on the point, that's free cap time. Times 2 cap time. Capture the point. That's incredibly, incredibly important. So many teams neglect the point capture so that they can get an extra pick. No. If they're backed out enough and they're giving you the land, take it. Take the land, capture the point, and then you can go ahead and get picks. Because the pick game doesn't start until after you get the point on this map. Before you have the point, basically, it's in mid-fight mode. Because if no one has the point, that also means that no one has high ground. Because the point is pretty much the highest ground. It just is. Everything else is just so flat and low. That if no one has the point, no one's captured that high ground yet. Which means you have to play it like a mid-fight. You have your flank roll through house, you have your demo watching over the stairs, you have your heavy watching around these stairs. It's a mid-fight. However, you get the point, and that's when things get interesting, because once you get the point, then you're fighting to just kill them enough so that they can't push back in. That's your goal at that point. But to do that, you have to get the point first. The point is more important than the picks, at least initially, right at the beginning. Maybe not right at the beginning when you're mid-fighting, like right at the start, because right then, picks are very important, obviously, but if you're just like stalemating further along and all the teams are already out and a few people have already died and respawned and it's kind of going a little slowly, no one's really pushing for it, at that point, then it's obvious that they're not concentrating on point, so you might as well start concentrating on point. And one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to start spamming it hard and aggressing onto it, which would allow your demo, your heavy, to basically rotate and kill off anyone who's aggressing, or you're just going to capture the point, and then that's no longer a mid-fight. Then you're into pick mode, and that's your goal. That's it. Those are all the basics for this map. Does anyone have any questions?
So, oh yeah, I'm actually back now, so yay. So, what you're saying with not risking, like, if you have high ground and if somebody's even low or anything like that, or if they're down and you're not waiting for your team to come back, it's not risky to even get the pick, even if it's an important class, because even just losing more people on the point is shitty.
When it's stalemated.
When it's more stalemated.
So when like neither team is really doing anything, that's when you prioritize the point. Not when you don't have the point, however. Okay, when neither team has had the point for a long time, then you start prioritizing the point, is what I'm trying to say. So a mid-fight, you play like mid-fight. A push, you play like a push. A hold, you play like a hold. But when neither team has gotten the point yet, you need to start prioritizing the point for picks. Because if neither team has the point, and it's been like 5 minutes into the game and no one's gotten the point, that means that their team is focusing on the point. Which means that if you're in the right positions, if you're in the positions for a mid-fight, and you start prioritizing the point, you will win. Because their team is not in the right position to capture the point, or else they would have already.
Yeah, and along with that too, it's like even if, like, let's say the fight's going south, and you're sort of in a tight situation, you could either, and you're in a situation that's like, oh, I can get this pick real fast and cause them to minus, but I might cause the team minus too. Like you're saying, it'd be better just to come back with your team and then try to push in.
In most cases, yes. I'm not gonna say like if you have the opportunity to kill the medic right before backing out, go ahead and kill the medic. But that's only if it's like. I mean, that probably will never happen. The medic's really hard to get at on this map. But, again, once the fight is going south, you need to stop thinking it's a mid-fight because you lost the mid-fight if the fight is going south. Like, if they kill too many of your people, mid-fight's over, you're no longer in mid-fight mode, and you're obviously not in hold mode because you don't have the point. Then you're in push mode. In push mode, you have to think about not dying. You have to think about being with people in your category. So like combo with combo, flank with flank. And you have to think about being alive enough and being in the right position to push when it's the time to push. However, let's say you're still in mid-fight mode and you're just barely noticing that the fight is going south and the main caller just said, okay, back off, we lost mid. If that just happened and you just happened to be right in front of a medic and one click would kill him, just kill the medic and get out, Like, if there's an important pick right there, finish what you're doing and get out. But otherwise, push mode means don't die. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Nick. Alright, so, let's say that we have a point and me and the soldier are holding the flank, assuming that like we're not holding on like bat or a combo isn't like us, would you prefer me to just like be holding or like trying to like push and get more ground?
Do we have the point?
Yeah, we have the point. And
Okay,
have the lake.
we already we already have points, so you can go ahead and push and get more ground. So at that point, once we have the point, it's unless our combo is literally just dead. If our combo's dead, then you basically have to just, either back out appropriately or just hold the ground as best you can appropriately. But if the combo's up, we have the point, and you guys aren't on bats yet, then you can go ahead and start getting a little more aggressive and start trying to get some picks. Because now that we have the point, like, you and Vuj might want to, like, jump in on someone that's, like, maybe, like, right across from the point. Maybe they're right in front of here, and, like, their combo hasn't backed off yet. We just got the point. So you want to back off their combo. Zero just bombs in. He bombs the combo, and while they're distracted by him, you can run up, shoot the med in the demo a few times, and then back off behind the point, and your combo will be right there. That's when you start making, like, once we have the point, assuming our combo is still up when we get it, you guys start making it harder for them to hold anywhere beyond bats. So you want to push them behind their bats. Because if they're behind their bats and struggling to get their players up, they can't push past bats, essentially, is the point of that. So yeah, you start getting aggressive, assuming our combo is alive.
Sure, no.
Yavush?
Did I make it in time, or did I miss fours again?
Fours is soon, but you're in time. We're just map reviewing for Highlander right now.
Oh, yeah. And I have a question about a recommendation just on, like, overall playstyle of Pyro, like, when a soldier when a soldier sort of bombs in on combo. Do you think it'd be more important just to focus on the first rocket that comes in, and then try to spy check to see if Spy's behind, see if he's just trying to get a quick stab in?
Well,
Because it seems like you sort of, like, get hurt more on the first rocket than the second rocket. But it seems like, because I'm sorry for interrupting you, because I've been just, like, meditating about it, like, just thinking about it, of just how that really plays out. Because the reason why I had so much trouble with that is I sort of tried to prioritize on what could actually pick you faster, the soldier or the person jumping or the person trying to get the stab, and sometimes it'd be either or, and then it'd just be closer from there.
okay. Well, the Pyro as a class is more of a class of necessity and reaction than it is anything else. So I can throw you 1,000 different ways to play this map, and all of them would be correct. Basically, here's the deal. On Lake, first of all, you need to know what the big threats are on each map. The Pyro's kind of like the caretaker for the entire rest of the team. He makes sure that they're safe. And so, what are the big threats on this map? I would say the biggest threats on this map are going to be the Soldier, the Scout, and the Spy. However, for the most part, the Soldier and Scout can be dealt with by the Heavy. As long as they're about average skill, the Heavy can deal with it. The Spy, for the most part, can be dealt with by people just normally spy checking. For the most part, as long as their spy is about average skill. Now, as to what you do on this map in general, that all depends on their players. So say their soldier is really good at bombing in, and Surtur just can't stop it before he gets 2 rockets in on me, then be there to deny that soldier and deny his spam. But that's if the soldier's really good. Let's say the soldier's really bad, and you decide, well, this is Lakeside, I'm gonna go ahead and deny soldiers, because that's what I do on Lakeside. You're not helping anyone if you do that. Because if their soldier's bad, not only can Surtur take care of it on his own, or Aruji can take care of it on his own if he's playing, but
No one's on this one.
but like no one's on the spy, and you're denying a soldier that isn't even gonna do any work. See, now if their soldier's good, like really good, then you block him. If their spy's really good, you block him. If we're just not having problems with spies, soldiers, or scouts, then you don't even need to be with the combo. You can go ahead and rotate and help the flank if that's more appropriate against that team. Pyro is more about reaction than I think almost any of the other classes. Really, almost everything you do is reaction speed. Being able to react to the situation, knowing, okay, their soldier just died. He's very good, but he just died. So I'm going to quickly just go check the flank, and I'm going to come back before he respawns. A Pyro can do that. Or, hey, I need to react to these rockets coming my way. I have to air blast them. Those are all reactions. All of that is reaction time. So I'm not going to tell you exactly how you're supposed to play Pyro on this map, because there is no one way to play Pyro on this map. Voosh to inspect things. There is no one way to play Pyro on this map. You just have to figure it out as you're going up against the team.
Yeah, because it seemed like with some teams it'd be weird. Like I would like deny spam, but then you'd get stabbed, or I would check for spy, then soldier would jump in, like as we see spy, like soldier would jump in and then just like smash you in the face, and it'd just be like one of those weird things. It'd be either or, but not just like, oh, just one and then check or anything else. Because I think with some of the weird situations, like just with Pride, just a weird thing about Pride good guy, if I can even say it. Focusing on what's more important, not about the same definition of priority or whatever. But like if soldier tries to jump in at you, and I reflect the first rocket, wouldn't that be good enough for you to try to at least get away first, and then the rest of the combo, when they sort of catch up and hear the comm and all that, then they can take care of that a bit more, and then I can focus on protecting everybody else from spy from coming in after they're sort of trying to handle soldier, because that'd be the perfect opportunity for spy to come in.
Okay, well, I'm just going to tell you right now, all of the questions you have right now, every single one of them, that all gets resolved through practice. And, like, I can't practice for you. So, what I suggest you do is go ahead and go play some lobbies, go play some Lakeside, even in pubs. Playing Lakeside in pubs, well, those players are definitely less sophisticated. You can kind of experiment with different positionings for Pyro. You can kind of look at, okay, well, let's look at this area. What kinds of classes are in this area? What kinds of people like to play around here? What kinds of people are having success and why? You know, kind of learn the map that way. Go play Lakeside lobbies. Obviously, those happen every now and then. But you have to practice. I can't tell you exactly how to react to every situation as it happens. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
I have a question. What did I miss?
The map review, but also recorded it.
Oh, good.